Opolis is changing utilities. In this video, we're going to be interviewing Micah, who works with Opolis, and we're going to talk about how Opolis can make it so that you can yield farm in the most profitable way. And also, if you're a 1099 person who works for themselves, self-employed, you can actually get benefits just like if you were a W-2 employee. So we're going to get Micah on the line and we're going to dive into it. I hope you guys enjoy. This is our first video where we're collabing with someone else. Big Mike.
There he is.
My brother.
There he is.
How you doing today,
My brother
man?
from
Happy
another
Friday.
mother. I'm good, dude. I'm good. The calendar today is very full. Just like meeting. See?
Nice.
How are you on this fine Friday?
Man, I woke up on the right side of the dirt.
Right side of the dirt. Yeah, you are alive.
Yes, sir. We are on record, so let's go ahead and kick this off. Yeah, just so everyone knows, I met Micah during San Francisco at a crypto event over Halloween, yeah? And it was really, really loud in there. And this is how I know me and Micah really hit it off. Normally, when it's like a networking event and it's really, really loud, I don't really talk much because I don't want to just be yelling at the top of my lungs all day. But me and Micah stood there and yelled in each other's faces for 2 hours.
You understand what a delta neutral yield farming position is? Oh my God.
Yeah, man.
It was a great conversation. Yeah.
It was, man. It was. So yeah, thank you for your time and breaking this down today. I feel like this is going to be a lot of value for people. So we are here to talk about Opolis, but before we do, you want to give us a little background on your professional experience and how you got into crypto, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. For those listening in at home, hello, I am Micah Baylor. I go by Toad Medicine out on the internet.
Right there?
Right there. Yeah, hit me up on the Twitters. Yeah, basically what you have, I'm the third of 9 kids. I was born and raised in deep South Texas. And when I was 18 years old, I got engaged to a girl and I started brokering employee benefits. Completely normal things for an 18-year-old child to be doing. Fast forward a year later, and I was running operations for a Fortune 500 company in the city that I grew up in. And I was a married man. And yeah, I've just always been in the employee benefit space. So since I was a kid, I've been in the employee benefit space. I ended up moving to San Francisco not long after that. I became the state sales trainer for the company that I was with. So was responsible for onboarding new sales agents and training field agents and field trainers, all in the employee benefit space. And all of that time, I was a contractor. And I began to realize like the unique problems that contractors and freelancers face when they go to the marketplace, namely because they go to the marketplace alone. You know, they don't go as a group or an entity. They go just as young freelancer. So, you know, I was dealing with these things myself and watching people deal with these things. During the pandemic, I was able to step away from employee benefits and doing what I had always done. I had built up some passive income for myself, and I decided I wanted to be a founder in the crypto space. So I started doing Web3 things, and I wanted to come to Web3 because Web3 is a place where more people can have access. It is an entrepreneurial story that if those of us here are good custodians of propagating like what the message of Web3 is, the entrepreneurial journey will be more accessible to more individuals worldwide. So I came to Web3 because I think that more people should have access to living the life that they want to live. So yeah, you know, I got into crypto in 2017, but I started full-time in 2020 and just started doing things. You know, a little bit of Fugazi, a little bit of Fugazi, some smoke and some mirrors, a little bit of noise.
Here, altcoin there, NFT here.
It is what it is. You know, it wasn't until the going got tough that I needed to look for like a real project that provided real value. So as things began to crumble and crash in 2022, I started to look for a more meaningful project to work on outside of just like the NFT stuff that I was doing at the time. And that is when I find Opolis. I knew about Opolis beforehand. You know, I spoke with them, considered using their service. And then when came around to realizing that I wanted to do, bigger and better things. That is when I joined Opolis as a contributor. So now I do, business development at Opolis.
Nice, man. So that's a perfect segue. What is Opolis, man? And why should people care? Like, can you break that down for us?
Yeah, Opolis it's hard to explain because there is only one of them. It used to be easy to explain things in the insurance industry because I would say, hey, it's like this, With Opolis, we're the first of our kind. We are a digital employment cooperative. Some people might call us an employer as a service or an employer of record. It's like a member-owned employment service. There's a lot of services that are gate-kept by employers. You can think about how 401ks, really easy to get if you work at a place, or really good health insurance, really easy to get if you work at a place. Or just access to like simple tax forms, like access to a W-2 pay stub is something you usually only get if you work at a place. So what we've done is we've taken all of these employer services and we're bringing that to the fastest growing segment in the market, which is the freelancers here in the United States. Well, granted, Opolis is now in Canada and the US. I think the freelancer movement is kind of global at this point. The fact of the matter is that more people than ever are working for themselves, and those people do not have access to the very simple things that made it possible for our parents to be successful. And we simply just make those things very easy to have access to for freelancers. All of the normal stuff you would get working for a corporation, but available to freelancers is what we're up to.
Okay, so anyone who's 1099, they can get their dental, their health, et cetera, et cetera. What does that process look like? I remember you and I talked and you said something along the lines of Opolis would help them set up an entity. Like, could you break down that part?
Yeah. The way that we function is very similar to how like a Trinet does. If you're familiar with that setup, basically what happens is you own a company, you are the employee of that company, and what you do is you end up becoming an employee of the employment commons, but still working for your own company. And you're essentially leasing yourself to your own company from the employment commons. You are a 1099 person who feeds your 1099 income into the employment commons. The employment commons is the name of the public good that Opolis is the key contributor to. Opolis is the tech company that is building infrastructure and technology for this thing that we all own together called the employment commons. The employment commons acts as an employer of record. And since you then have an employer, you now have access to everything inside of that employer group. You have access to our payroll services. Traditionally, 1099 employees have to like send money to their personal account from their business account and then set aside for their own taxes. Contractors are supposed to do things like quarterly reporting where they fill out the form 1040 and estimate their taxes for the year and pay ahead on their taxes for the year. We just make all of that really simple. Instead of doing your form 1040 and doing these things, you could just pay yourself on payroll through Opolis and allow for Opolis to remit employer and employee taxes on your behalf and keep all the compliance really just straightforward and clean. I don't really know that most freelancers realize how unprofessional their practices are. Like, if you're not an LLC with an S corp, like if you're not paying taxes on time, if you're not running a profit and a loss statement, right? Like there's all these little things that if you just know to do them, it makes it easier to qualify for like a business line of credit, or like you just look better on paper. So you have access to more things. There's a lot of self-reporting and like self-accountability that if you engage in being accountable in that way, you're treated better by everyone, right? You're treated better by the tax guy, you're treated better by, the loan man, you're treated better by them all. So be self-accountable, be self-reporting, build a healthy business and reap the rewards.
Yes, sir. I like that. Okay. So, a big reason why I want to do this video is because, by the way, guys, Micah is a part of the Know It Alls Consortium. We have the blessing of him working with us. So we wanted to do this video because this is something that can be really, really good for yield farmers. So me personally, I do all my yield farming inside of my hedge fund, so I don't have to deal with this. But for 99.99% of the rest of the population who doesn't own and operate a hedge fund, they're normally trading and investing under their personal name. And that makes you taxed as an individual. Well, we all know that companies get better tax breaks than individuals because the government wants people to run companies, give people jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So through Opolis, instead of trading and yield farming under your personal name, you can set up an entity and you can manage that entity. And now, like, you can set up like a Coinbase Pro account, have the wallet under your company, and now you're yield farming through your company. And now your company is paying you like an employee to manage your company. And now you get a better tax break, you get work token, which we're going to talk about, and everything is just nice and seamless for you. So that is like the meat and potatoes of this. So now that we're kind of on that work token, Micah, before I let you elaborate on this, I looked into the work token and they have some of the best tokenomics in all of crypto. You look at these tokens and they have it's not bad to have an inflationary model, but you want to inflate based off of something, right? Like, even if you look at the traditional economy, too much credit is bad, just like not enough credit is bad. But credit is only good when it's extended to someone. They use it to provide, productivity within the economy. After they provide that productivity and they make a profit, they pay off that loan. And now that inflation wasn't for nothing. Well, Opolis kind of takes that same model with their work token, in the sense that you have to correct me on the exact numbers because they slipped my mind, but I think their profits has to increase 10%. Every 10% of profits that they make, they inflate the work token by 1%. So that inflation is actually coming from real revenue, and that work token is shared with people who are using it. Micah, did you want to elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, you did nothing but tell the truth. That's the way that it is. As we grow, the token is inflated. Like you said, it's every 10% growth. The thing to remember, though, is that growth is driving revenue back to the work token. Opolis makes money on a consumption tax. We charge a 1% fee for all of our services. Really, that 1% fee is collected by the employment commons. And then the employment commons contracts Opolis, the tech company, to provide services to the commons. So the commons gets all of the money that the commons earns, and they're right now paying Opolis to come and provide the service. At current rate, we're still a startup. Okay. What I mean by that is I mean that Opolis is not covering the entire cost of doing business yet. However, we are also a volume play. And what I mean by that is, like, we don't need to hire hundreds more people to scale our business model. We could 10x the number of people who are using Opolis without hiring more people to run the backend. So at this point, the proof of concept is done, and now we just need more freelancers to know about this. I say all of that to say that, you're running payroll through Opolis. We're collecting a 1% fee. That 1% fee is paying, developers and people like myself to keep Opolis alive. But for every dollar you put through payroll, you're paying your 1% fee, and you're also earning work tokens. And these work tokens are the governance token of the Opolis ecosystem, the employment commons. That means everything, That means that as we fully decentralize, that work token will be how we go about deciding our benefits package. When the employment commons has an excess of cash and we're a profitable organization, and you're sitting there looking at that money inside of the community-owned wallet, the work token is the token that will vote to say, hey, we want to take a distribution. We want to take the profits and divide them amongst the people. Yeah, we imagine that it'll be very similar to like an REI model, where you kind of just get back some money at the end of the year. The work token is that. It's the revenue and dividend rights token. It's the equity token of this new employment cooperative. Yeah.
Okay, I love that explanation. I appreciate that. So you hinted a few minutes ago that they are like a one of one. I was going to ask if they have any competitors. Like, is there any other company that are like providing benefits to 1099 folks? I haven't heard of any.
There's other places to get benefits for 1099 folks, but no one really makes the sausage like we make the sausage. You know what I mean? Like, we're I mean, you can go and get benefits as a 1099 person, but you end up on some mech plan, Mecca's minimum essential coverage. Like, you usually end up on some shoddy plan for some weird rate, or it's not even real insurance. It's more like a cooperative. It's not like insurance. Opolis provides access to an actual employee benefits package, the type that you would find at any tech company, with access to legitimate PPO networks. So yeah, it's a legitimate health insurance policy with everything else baked into it. I tell people we have everything down to the employee assistance program. So that means you got like your vision, your dental, your retirement, your everything covered. You can go other places and you can find like a personalized payroll service, but no benefits, or you find like a benefits, but they don't act as your employer of record. Or Opolis is the only place that I have found everything, and this is all that I've done my entire life is like employee benefits, So yeah, I'm really just happy to be working here. Like, I'm happy to be on this. I think that we're starting a movement in the way that we employ ourselves. I think that we are starting a movement in work. It's a movement in the US, Fact of the matter is that the number of freelancers is an ever-growing segment. It's growing faster than ever. Right now, I want to say the number is like 50-something million freelancers in America. I was reading a McKinsey report not long ago, and they say that like by 2028, it's supposed to be 80 million, which is half of the working force in America. It's just moving. More people want to work for themselves. Okay. We're here to support that.
Hell yeah, man. My next question is, do you know of any new things in the work with Opolis? Any new things coming out? Like, what are they in the lab constructing right now?
It's interesting. I think I'll throw two things at you. There's a few things going on back here in the kitchen, but I want to tell you about all the sauces that are simmering. Yeah. Waft with me. Come on, waft with me now. There's two things I think I'll say. One is that right now we're still a bit of a cow, and when I say we're a cow, I mean that we're a centralized autonomous organization. We're a centralized company. And we have these tokenomics, we have aspirations of becoming a DAO, but we're still centralized. We seek member feedback on the benefits package, but the members are not yet managing the benefits package. One of the things that I foresee happening this year is that Opolis will hit the goal of having 1,000 members. And at 1,000 members is when we begin the process of becoming a proper DAO. So first and foremost, when DAO? I think this year. I think we can begin the process of becoming a DAO this year. And that's cool. I mean, we'll be the first decentralized employer organization that exists in this universe. And I'm ready to lean into that. Another thing that we got going on is just our expansion globally. Right now, we exist in Canada and the US. We need probably 20-something people inside of another country to want to go there. Some top runners are India and Nigeria. I think Puerto Rico is actually docked to be another market we move into in the first or second quarter. So yeah, you start to see Opolis becoming not just for Americans, but really like this global public good that anyone can access. So yeah, let's go global and let's become a DAO. I would say are two things that, we're cooking up in the back.
That's a full course of you guys right there. Hell yeah. Okay, before we talk about how to get involved, is there any other thoughts you'd like to share? Anything that we may have missed? Anything else you want the people to know?
It's a lot to consume this Opolis stuff, because it's like, get incorporated, personalized payroll, employee benefits. There's a lot of different ways to think about it. I would say it's more about just thinking about like, does it bring you value? Can it bring you value? The questions to ask are really more around like, what problems do you deal with, to know if Opolis is a thing that might be right for you. And what I'm looking for freelancers that don't have a good health plan, And I don't necessarily mean that you just don't have good health insurance. I mean, you don't have a plan to stay healthy. You know, like you don't know how you go to the doctor. You don't know what urgent care you would go to if you needed to go. You don't know what emergency room you would go to if you broke your leg. Like you don't have a plan for your health. You know, piss poor planning makes poor results, right? So having a plan for your health is a way to stay healthy. So yeah, if you're a freelancer without a plan for your health, Opolis is a thing to look at. Another big category that we really look at is just your overall financial fitness. Like how financially fit are you? For some people, I need to talk to them about 401ks or HSAs or FSAs. For other people, that just means we're incorporating their business. What I'm trying to highlight here with this is not necessarily just the features and the benefits of our product, but I'm trying to highlight like the symptoms that I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for freelancers who need a better financial health score, freelancers who want to have a better, like a healthier life, you know? I would say that the last two symptoms that I really look for inside of the freelancer population is I look for freelancers who want to be more competitive. You are simply more competitive if you do not operate as a sole proprietor, but you instead operate as an LLC S Corp designation or LLC C Corp designation, like you're more competitive because when you're looking for contracts, that contract, that company that is signing a contract with you, they're signing your company a contract. They're not assigning you a contract. And this removes all of the liability that the company giving you the contract traditionally carries, because they can get in a lot of trouble for misdesignating you as a contractor when you should have been listed as a W-2 employee. So professionalizing your freelancing practice makes you more competitive. And then the last thing that I would say is a symptom I look for is I look for freelancers who are just going at it alone and long for that sense of community, that sense of belonging, the sense of like, kumbaya, we do this together, you know? Like if you're a freelancer, you work on your own for yourself, and sometimes it gets just massively depressing, right? Like we're out here in the world just doing our thing all alone. And here at Opolis, there's not another place like where you can access all of the benefits of work and being a part of something where everyone there is like you, everyone else there is independent, you know, and still maintain your own sovereignty, still maintain your own freedom of choice, still maintain like the I work for who I want to, when I want to, where I want to, how I want to, right?
Say it again for the people in the back.
You bet. But yeah, I mean, like those four things, that's the reason you come here.
I love it. I super appreciate this. I feel like this is going to be very valuable to folks out here listening. How does one get involved with Opolis? Is there a Discord, Telegram? I'm going to drop my referral link here in the description for you guys. But can you tell folks how they get involved?
Yeah, there's a number of ways, actually. Telegram, Discord, link in the description. Of course, I'll just send those to you so that you can put those in the description. But yeah, plenty of places to drop in and just be around people who are already using Opolis if you just want to come and say, hey. Really, honestly, the first step is just to evaluate it for yourself, depending on how you best operate. I would say one of two things. Some people, they just want to meet one-on-one with an Opolis steward. We are well staffed. We have like a lot of people who work here. So you can meet with someone like myself who will just answer your questions. If that's not for you, if you're like, oh, I don't want to talk to someone one-on-one, that's okay. You can still go through the old link and you can end up at a group presentation. I do this probably like 4 to 8 times a week, where I'll just pop on and just present to the 5 people, the 20 people, the 30 people, like the whatever it is, amount of people who just want to come around and get the skinny on what is Opolis. So yeah, I would say that if you're now aware of Opolis and you're moving into the evaluation process, you should come by to a Meet Opolis group presentation where you can kind of take the next step from there after you've validated us a bit. Or if you're done with your evaluation process, and just go ahead and jump in the deep end and schedule a one-on-one call with a steward. There is a lot of surface area on this. We're talking about incorporating you. We're talking about getting you benefits. There's so many different angles. It's not really like a click through. It's best if it's white gloved serviced. but we do offer a white glove service. So come and get you some. Also, if you're not a freelancer, like that's not you, you can pay $20 to become just a member of Opolis, not like an employee member. You can pay a $20 fee to become a member. And then if you're like a member, you can get a referral link, and then you can refer people to Opolis. If you want to do that, we pay up to $300 for a referral. So if you're like a W-2 employee at a place, you're not a freelancer, but you have a network, you could join us in that capacity and, you know, be a part of the movement.
Okay, sweet. An idea just came to me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put an Opolis channel within the Know It Owls Discord. I'm going to post this video there, and anyone watching, click the link to apply to get inside of the Know It Owls Discord, as we're only letting a certain amount of people in. But inside of the public Discord, there's going to be an Opolis channel by the time you watch this, where we can come and just Opolis out. I'll do that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'll come through the channel on the occasion. Just clean it up. Perfect.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Big Mike, I super appreciate the time. Me, you, Jada, and Diana got to hang out again real soon. That was super fun last weekend. But yeah, man, other than that, I appreciate you taking the time to do this video on the sunniest Friday we've had in a month. And yeah, man, until next time.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Vinny. See you around the internet.
See you around.